But we have, joining us now,
Yes.
Doug Burgum, the North Dakota governor, who is also supporting out on the campaign trail President Trump. So, good morning. Great to have you here.
Great to have you here, and on today especially.
Yeah, great
You know,
to be here.
I mean, you're watching this really surreal scene here as President Trump is juggling all of these cases and also running for president at the same time. He's calling this election interference. Alvin Bragg is calling it election interference from 2016. What do you make of it this morning as you watch the president?
Well, it is incredible. Here we are in New York, and we've got a former president of the United States in a sham trial. I mean, this is a 7-year-old business filing issue that's being trumped up into 34 felonies, and that whole thing is crazy. I mean, it's like if it was a business filing case, it should have never been dropped. It's not urgent. It's clearly an election interference, and the idea that they can take something that would normally in business be a misdemeanor and turn it into 34 felonies. It's like someone was alleged for jaywalking, but every step you take is a felony. The whole thing is bizarre. But then juxtapose that against the fact that we've got these protests going on at Columbia and Yale, and then we've got people like saying that the world was somehow Trump is a threat to democracy. I mean, Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. When we think about the world is at war, we're funding terrorism, both apparently we're supporting it at home with protests and funding it across with Iran. So it's like everybody, all of this chaos that's going on, the average citizen understands they were better off under President Trump than they were under Joe Biden.
One of the things he said just now as he made opening comments before opening statements in the trial is that he said, despite all of this, despite me having to be here, my poll numbers are going up. And I think there's some question on that. There are polls that show Biden ticking up as well. But here was President Trump at trying to do a rally on the weekends when he's able to travel to a battleground state in North Carolina. Unfortunately, there was bad weather. Listen to him here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Donald Trump, your favorite president of all time, hopefully. As you can see, there's some very bad weather heading in, and we're flying in a few minutes, but they really would prefer that we not come in because there's a certain danger to all of this, and we want to make sure that everybody is safe above all.
And one of the things I thought of is you can't buy a break, right? With the weather, it was bad in a lot of different places this week. But as you're listening around, I know you're a supporter of his now. What do you hear from people out there about him being stuck here when he should be campaigning in those battleground states?
Well, this is again back to the sham trial. He'd be doing 2 rallies a day. You know that he loves getting out and talking to real Americans and real people, and he's campaigning on the issues. And one of the reasons why this is election interference is because when President Trump campaigns, he talks about inflation, he talks about the border, he talks about public safety, he talks about stopping the wars and stopping the killing. These are the issues that are mattered to the voters. And so every day that the Democrats can keep him sitting in the courtroom is a win for them. And so it is absolutely, it's election interference, and it is so unfair to the public and to our country to have this happening.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see when the Supreme Court weighs in on the immunity issue and whether or not that has an impact on some of these other situations as well. But I want to ask you about the third-party issue, because Dana just mentioned the latest polling. And let's put up the headline poll here, which is Trump versus Biden. This is a new NBC poll, has Trump up 2 in the head-to-head. But in the 5-way race, which includes Kennedy, Jill Stein, and Cornel West, Biden is ahead by 2 points. There's been a lot of discussion over who Kennedy helps or hurts, and we're seeing mixed bag in the swing state polls with regard to that. What do you think about him in this race as a factor?
Well, I think if you have a Kennedy on the ballot, America is going to understand that a Kennedy on the ballot's a Democrat, and this is a Green New Deal loving candidate in terms of Kennedy, and it's also in terms of he likes taxes. And so if he gets on the ballot and he's in the race, that's a win for President Trump for sure, because you got two Democrats, Biden and Kennedy, that'll be splitting the vote. And with Kennedy, I know that young people somehow the under 30 numbers look like they're going towards him, but that's where Joe Biden's trying to hang on to those votes. And those under 30, a lot of those are shifting over to President Trump. So it's and it's early in that sense that people don't know really who RFK Jr. is, but when they find out that he's for taxes and spending the same way that Joe Biden is, great, bring it on. Let him split that Democrat vote.
I think it was a big wake-up call when he got on the Michigan ballot last week. That was a pretty it was a clever move on their behalf, and Biden team has gone after them. I imagine that Trump's will as well. I just want to also play this for you. Hillary Clinton said that what President Trump really wants to do is to basically totally get rid of his opposition. Watch her here.
Trump was like, just gaga over Putin because Putin does what he would like to do. Kill his opposition, imprison his opposition, drive, journalists and others into exile, rule without any check or balance. That's what Trump really wants.
What do you think of her on the campaign trail for Biden?
Oh, I think this is the height of hypocrisy. I mean, wow. I mean, really? I mean, the folks that thought that the 2016 election was stolen, I mean, the original election deniers are out there trying to make a case that somehow we're safer under Biden. Under Joe Biden, the high cost of Joe Biden's weakness is coming home to roost in all of these bills we're having to pass right now, whether it's Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan. I mean, Joe Biden's weakness, starting with Afghanistan, is costing world peace. It's leading us towards World War III. And then she's saying that somehow, we're less safe. President Trump, the world clearly was safer under President Trump. We weren't at war. We had inflation under control. I mean, it's a crazy false argument, and American people are going to see right through it.
Right. And the part also where she says imprison his opposition.
And then what's happening right now? They're literally the whole point. The whole point of this trial is to try to take President Trump off the.
It's great to have you here.
Yeah.
Thanks
and
for
a very
coming.
tight race, so it's going to be very interesting. We'll
Thanks
see
for
how
being
it goes.
here. We appreciate you.
Governor, good to see you.
Thank you.
Nice to
Thank
see
you
you
both.
again. Thank you for coming here.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.